So I built this MCP, and then it built itself, and now I can't sleep. I had a meeting at 9, I had a meeting at 10, I had a meeting to schedule the meeting again. So I fed it to the model and I pressed the little key, and the model made a song about the meeting.
All right, we're back. It's Wednesday night.
Another week, another cloud. Adam.
Yeah, yeah. Another week, another model.
There you go.
Yeah,
There are new models.
there are new models.
Just like every other week.
Yep.
For the past half a year.
Yeah, it seems that way, right? It's nonstop at this point. You know what I found funny? I don't know about you, but up until the link that you shared, sort of before we got started, I didn't have a single AWS news article that I found that I was even remotely interested in.
It was pretty bare bones this week, I gotta say. There was a couple of sort of interesting things about Cognito.
Yeah.
A new EC2 family came out. Which
I did see that. Yeah, I was. I have to change the way I think about it after talking to the Modulate AI guys.
Oh yeah.
So
That's true.
well, because they remember how they were talking about how much they were doing on, I don't want to call it bare metal, but on instances and getting the right instance types to do the type of work that they were doing and everything. So yeah, I'll be a little nicer now. But again, I was like neat and kept going.
Yeah, it's not gripping, that's for sure.
No. Yeah, it's been a weird week. Crazy weather. We got some crazy storms, right? Even I think was it last night or yesterday morning? I don't know, about 5 o'clock in the morning, woke up, crazy thunder and rain. I was like, oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Crazy wind and everything. So I don't know. And maybe I was thinking of the lack of AWS, not the lack of AWS news, but that it's been a little quieter than normal. Maybe it's because it's like the middle of summer and things are just a little slower. I don't know. Maybe.
Could be.
I thought
Maybe
of
it's
the
a
other
gap
day.
between big events. Are there any big conferences coming up? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a conference guy. I don't want to
fair.
travel to conferences. Not anymore. Those days are gone. All right. Well, do you want to kick us off with the one AWS related news article, which is not sort of a service announcement, which we normally do? Why don't you walk us through this one? It's a good one.
Okay, sure. So if you were looking at Cost Explorer last week, you may have had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to feel like how Sam Altman or Dario Amodei might feel looking at their AWS bill. Some people were surprised with a $2.5 trillion charge.
It's just a rounding error. It's just a rounding error.
It's in the grand scheme of things, what is it really, right?
Oh my God.
But
I've had some experiences, right, where you get an email from somebody that's looking at the bill, or you do exactly that. You log in and the little widget's there on the console, and you have that oh shit moment, right? Like, I didn't expect that, but obviously never 2.5 trillion. So I could only imagine the feeling that it didn't happen to me. I could only imagine the feeling in the person's gut when you logged in and saw that. Like your brain, I don't think you could help it. Your brain would think like really bad things. I think like you'd just be like, oh my God, what is happening? I don't think you could help it. Right.
You open that page, you're like, oh,
yeah. Oh boy. Oh,
that happened.
There goes my my beer fund. I'm not going to be able to buy a beer this week. Wow. Yeah. So has there been any sort of post-mortem or anything yet on sort of what happened, or is it still just, hey, don't worry, you don't know it's $2.5 trillion? Hey, they got to pay for all these data centers somehow.
You gotta get the money from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And if you have to overcharge a little bit on some services, that's just the cost they're gonna have to pay.
Yeah.
I'm reading it was like a decimal point issue or a scaling issue on some cost metric or whatnot. So
somebody watched oh damn, I was gonna say my favorite movie ever, and now I can't remember. Office Space.
Oh yeah,
right?
classic.
And they're like, oh, it's just like the rounding of the pennies, and if we
Yeah.
just sort of scrape a little off of that, nobody will even notice. And they check the bank account after the weekend and note they have like 300 grand in there, and the
Yeah.
guy's like, I always mess up the decimal point. What a great movie, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think that's a Superman plot point too in one of the movies.
is it?
Just a fun fact.
Oh,
It's
man.
weird that it's happened twice, but
Yeah, and one of the characters is Michael Bolton, and of course, that comes into play. What a great movie! I might have to watch that movie. And then the dreaded fax machine. They all hate the fax machine. So yeah, you know what? This is a first. Episode 53. We have a single AWS news article to review. Shortest segment ever.
Yeah.
The good news is you do not owe them $2.5 trillion.
That's almost less scary than getting a charge for like $1 million or something, right? Because
Well,
like
see,
that would at least be feasible. You could reach that number.
Well, yeah, I think like in my scheme, like or in my situation on my own personal accounts, like if I logged in and I saw a 40K bill, I'd be like, oh shit. But if I logged in and saw 2.5 trillion, I'd probably go, oh shit. And then once the lizard brain calmed down a little bit, I'd be like, wait, like that's impossible, right? I wonder how many countries' GDP you could combine to get $2.5 trillion worth of AWS consumption. I bet quite a few.
Most. Yeah, most I would think.
Yeah, most of the world except maybe like 2-3 countries, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not up on my current GDP numbers.
It's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them.
US GDP I think is like 3 or 4 trill or something.
Oh yeah.
No, is it 40? It could be 40. Anyways,
it's big, right? There's a lot of zeros. A lot of zeros. All right. Well, that gets us very quickly to my favorite segment of every show, personal project news. Do you have anything for the week?
Nothing super exciting. I did try out Herder and it was pretty interesting. So I've been messing around with that.
Yeah.
For managing my agents and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let me think. Let me pull up my Git commits and then you go ahead. Like, have you have you seen any? Oh, good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Herder because we had talked about that. Like, when you say interesting, like what have you found interesting about it?
So my usual workflow is I use Tmux essentially. So I have panes per project basically that I'll tap between.
Yep.
And then I'll split as I need to inside those panes.
Yep.
And Herder's been pretty interesting in that you can have like the projects down on the on your sidebar, right? And you can click around through and see what your sessions are doing. So it's a very similar workflow, except it eliminates a little bit of, or it just lays it out a little bit better, I think.
Yeah. I think that's sort of, I've been using it quite a bit this week as well. I've been primarily using CMux. And this is a silly thing with CMux. I find the menu bar just overly heavy for a terminal. And I know that's silly, right? But it's just, I don't know what it is. I like the idea of the side menu and you can jump between your different projects because I kind of do that exact same thing in CMux, right? But yeah, there's just something about Herder that is, I don't know, it feels more like a terminal. To your point, like you've got a much more lightweight sidebar. You've got what I'm finding I'm doing, and I might regret this, but I've got like my projects on the side, and then what I'm doing is opening maybe even multiple tabs within the project. And I don't know why I started doing that. I think I kind of just stumbled across it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. But I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. So I'm going to try to stop doing that and just have the sort of tabs for each of my projects, because I find that it's easy to get lost working on so many projects. And then if you have your projects with individual tabs in them, it might even be more challenging, maybe. I don't know. I kind of started doing it over the last couple of days, and I was playing around with something tonight, and I'm like, where the fuck is that? I'm clicking around and I'm trying to find it. So probably not a good idea. So yeah, I'll let you do your Git log there. But for me, making fun of AWS being a little light on announcements. I think I'm a little light on announcements this week as well. I think burnt out isn't the right phrase, but I know people are saying, hey, these tools, you work even more with these tools. And I knew that, but I didn't feel the effects of it. But I've noticed in the last week, I'm just like, dude, I want to do something else. Like I can't think about this right now. The weather's nice, and it's, I don't know if it's just a weather thing or something, but I've just been kind of like, oh, do I want to do this right now? And I kind of wander off and do something else. Plus Battlefield 6 season 4 came out. We
pretty
were trying
important
to
stuff.
Pretty important. Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to prioritize. So we were trying out some new maps and stuff, and that burnt through a little bit of time. The one thing that I did do this week, and I think it's kind of a tangent to that comment about feeling a little burnt out. I almost think that, in the old days, you would buy domain names. And you'd be like, yeah, I have all these domain names for projects I'm going to work on. And then you never do it. And then you're spending money on domain names that just sit there. So you slowly call those out. And I kind of, yeah, been there, right? I kind of think that I was doing the same thing with my own projects with AI. I think I just have too many projects. And I think I was just sort of distracted isn't the right word, but feeling a little unsure of where to spend my time, my effort, my brain power. So I did spend a fair amount of time this week working with Claude to kind of say, hey, these are our goals, right? This is what I want to accomplish. Let's evaluate with those goals the projects that we have. And let's just some of them, we'll just kill them. Like they were fun at the time, but we don't need them, and they're not going to go anywhere. And maybe some other stuff we can just park. So I spent a fair amount of time doing that this week, and just sort of feeling okay with not having to work on so many projects at one time. I think I want to sort of be more focused, and I think that might help with some of my recent, what's the fancy word, malaise on just playing. Just don't want to do it, right? So I'm hoping that will work. The other thing that I did, kind of cool, I rebranded the whole site with Claude Design, so that was fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it did a really good job. Wait, you know what? I know people would be like, oh, but you need a designer and stuff. I get it. I'm not a designer. I'm not going to invest the time, the money in doing that for my little solo consulting gig. But it worked really good. Yeah, I kind of went for more of an editorial style, back and forth with Claude Design. And what I really liked about Claude Design, and I don't know if you've used it, but I'm like, give me 3 options. And it's like, here's an editorial, here's like more of technical blog kind of thing, here's this thing, and you can kind of iterate with it very quickly. And I landed on that sort of editorial thing, and I thought it looked really good. I did have a moment trying to finish it where I was kind of like, this AI stuff's shit. But it's always human error, man. So I'm like, okay, I need to add this. Oh, no, what it was I didn't like some of the widgets on the one page. So I'm like,
oh, yeah,
go look at the widgets. They're not right. They were like these long, skinny, crazy widgets. And I'm like, this is silly. So go look at them and show me another design. And it kept coming back with like crazy designs, like not related to anything. And I'm like, well, where are you getting that from? Because I gave you the project code. You're supposed to be using the project code to do this. And it's like, I am using the project code. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, I'm looking at the website and it doesn't look anything. So after a while, this is going on back and forth. And I finally just resort to grabbing a screenshot of the thing and saying, oh yeah, this is what it looks like. And it's like, oh, okay, I see it. So it's always human error, man. You know what I did? I had been making a bunch of commits, right? And I had basically, what I had done was I somehow managed to push all those commits, get the website updated, but not run a pull. So it was looking at the old website essentially, and it's like, this matches your current, and I'm like, what are you smoking, man? It does not. And then finally I had that moment where I'm looking at the terminal and I see all the little Git related icons, and I'm like, oh, you idiot.
Oh.
Right? I didn't apologize because it is just a robot, but in my head I was like, oh yeah, the human.
That's on me.
Yeah. So that's what I've been working on this week. Not hammering away on a lot of code, but just kind of culling some things and wrapping some stuff up that's just been lingering around a little too long.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense, especially like given how it feels to work with the tech a lot, right? Like there is that kind of burnout sensation. I've seen it a lot recently on social media. You'll hear stories about people just like getting anxiety over maxing tokens or whatnot, which is like, if you're at that point, it's not like you're not going to ship code that is that good, right? Like
no,
you're not going to ship the next Instagram in your garage or whatever.
No.
Like it's going to be plus or minus a day or two. You can take a break. Like,
yeah, take
fine.
a break, go outside, touch grass, stuff like that. Realize that there is a real world happening out there, and just let your brain relax a little bit. I think it's done. It's funny you mentioned anxiety. I don't think I was suffering anxiety. I was just like, that word malaise, right? I would just look at it and I'm just like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this right now. And I'm just not even worrying about it for the rest of the week. I'm kind of keeping the lights on the stuff that I need to do. And I'm thinking I got some plans for the weekend. Maybe Sunday we'll fire it back up. But I'm surprised I haven't gotten an email from Anthropic or anything yet saying, "What are you all right? Like,
we miss you."
Yeah, you're supposed to be burning like 100 million tokens a day. What's happening?
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Like, we're checking for signs of life. We're doing a wellness check, the opposite type of wellness check that you would really hope for, right? Is your token vendor reaching out, going, "Geez, your usage has been awfully low. Is there anything we can help you with?" Oh man, little dystopian there, right?
Just a little,
just a wee bit.
Dystopian.
Yeah. So what's on your list?
So I've been doing a very similar thing where I've been looking at the corpus of projects that I've spun up over the past 6 months, basically, since this stuff started, and I'm pruning down or kind of archiving things that I'm not actively working on and focusing on the things that I am.
Yeah.
Because I think you're totally right. Like you can easily just get spread way too thin on this stuff, even if you're not the one writing code, you still have to think and reason through the plans and the specifications that you want for these projects, right?
Yeah.
So paring that down has been really good.
Yeah.
So I've got it down to just like 3 or 4 projects that I'm actively working on right now, basically.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm in the same ballpark. Like I've got a couple like got to keep working on these things, and the other ones are kind of still important, but like lower on the scale, but still something I actively want to spend brain power on. So yeah, I think 3 or 4 is probably a good number. Any more than that, I think you're just, you're like you said, you're spreading yourself too thin, and the mental load that is still required for this stuff, I think, is much larger than a lot of people think.
It's way bigger than you think, right? Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I did figure out my Fable 5 thing. Yeah. I still couldn't get it working with the advisor. So what I did was I just turned off that advisor feature, and I'll just kind of flip the model on if I want to talk like, something like sort of spec work or strategy conversation or whatever. I'll flip to Fable, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that, and I'll flip back to like Opus or something to do the actual work. Probably still much heavier than I actually need to use, but I don't know. I didn't really. I don't know if I walked away going, wow, this thing is so much better than Fable, and maybe that's just how I was using it. It's so much better than Opus, but I don't know. I think you said you were finding it quite good. Maybe I'm just not using it for the right tasks at this point, but I do think it's quite wordy. And I was joking with somebody the other day. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this thing is just trying to burn my tokens on me at this point. Like,
deliberately.
Yeah.
What if we just tweak the setting where the model's like total like average response length, and then
yeah, well, just like we were talking in Office Space there, right? Like we just skim a little off the top. This is the opposite. We'll just add a little to each response, and
who's gonna notice?
They won't notice, right? And then I'm just getting like screens and screens and screens of text, and I'm like, my lord, I don't know if I need all this. So anyways, yeah. Anything else on the project side? A little bit of culling, refocusing, anything else?
Yeah, refocusing. I got to go through, and I'm still completely obsessed with that Pokemon card game thing. So that's where 80% of my attention is at all times is on that thing.
Yeah, that's good.
There's like a month left to go. So.
A month left to go. Where are you in the leaderboard now? We need a leaderboard update. Do you know roughly?
I bounce around. So basically how it works is it only tracks your latest 2 submissions. So if you're running some experiments, and I'm trying out some different pilots for a couple of new decks that I haven't used before really. So I'm kind of lower on the list right now. But I've been bouncing from like
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tend to bounce around like in the top 100 to the top 50 area. And then with these new pilots, they're not. I'm missing something. They're doing pretty badly.
They're not doing as well as you'd hoped. It happens. It happens. Yeah. All right. We sort of started the episode Another Week, Another Model. Why don't you tell us about the new model?
Another week, another 3-4 models came out this week.
Did they really? I was thinking of the Kimmy one you shared, but let's talk about the other ones too.
That's the big one.
Yeah, start with Kimmy.
That's the big one. Okay, so Kimmy K3 came out, and so this is from the same lab that brought all the other Kimmy models, but Moonshot Labs, I think.
Moonshot, yeah.
But it is a model that performs at the same or similar capability level to Fable and 5.6, and it's from a Chinese lab, and they're promising to make it open weight, which is crazy. Yeah. So it's really interesting how quickly that happened in comparison, right?
Yeah. Have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried it.
Oh, okay,
I haven't tried it yet.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I jumped over to is it Go? Just to see if they had included it yet. I think the highest they go is 2.7, which was the previous model, I guess, right? The previous Kimmy model, 2.7?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
right.
I checked that, not there. You know, I might give it a whirl. I don't know if I'll wait for it to show up on Go or whatever, or maybe just do a monthly subscription on the Moonshot website just to try it, maybe integrate it into, I guess you could probably integrate it into Pi or something like that. Give it a whirl.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked, man. What I wrote down is lots of graphs, and they're really good on those graphs. Good. They all look good, right? I think the proof would be, you know, I don't know if you and I were talking about this or it was from something else I read, but kind of like the benchmarks are great, right? It gives you kind of an idea, but it really comes down to your particular use case and how it works for you. So I think it's kind of like, got to try it out and see how it goes.
Well, all the big models are benchmarked to as far as they can go, right? So they're optimized for those benchmarks usually. Yeah. So we'll see how it actually ends up working. But I mean, if you have an open weight Fable tier model, what does that mean for the world, right? I guess you can host that wherever you want if you're someone who has access to enough compute, a nation state or an organization or a company. Then there you go. You've got your own Fable at home.
Yeah. And I was sort of, oh man, what went into my head there and left? Shit. Oh, I don't know what the hell I was going to say. Wow.
You can do Fable and Opus if you run GLM 5.2 too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I think I was just sort of, oh yeah, I remember what it was. I didn't see any costing, like input, output. Is that published anywhere? Have you seen that? I think so.
Yet? It's definitely cheaper than the big two right now. Let me pull that up. But essentially, like the way it's been going, these open weight models have not been as token efficient by any measure, but they have been priced cheaper. So it doesn't quite work out to as drastic a drop as you would think, but it's usually about half as cheap.
Okay. I know I've been mucking around with GLM, what is it, 5.2? And yeah, like it's cheap.
That one's
man.
really
Like,
wordy.
yeah, it's really wordy, but it's cheap. Like I tasked it with a couple things, looking at issues in GitLab and stuff like that, and not heavy work, but I might spend $1 on a task, and I'm kind of thinking to myself,
Yeah.
$1 on a simple little coding task, I'll spend that, right? Like,
Yeah,
right.
it can be worth it. I mean,
yeah.
looks like K3 is $3 in and 15 out, so that's like what Sonnet pricing.
Is it? Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I think we looked up, wasn't like Opus something like 25 out or something? Like, it was maybe even higher than that.
This is like 60% cheaper than 5.6 Sol. So
wow.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a shot, worth a try. See what it does for you, right?
It's really interesting, and there's this model that's coming out. Alibaba just kind of announced Qwen 3.8 Max, which is supposed to be a Fable tier model. They haven't released any benchmarks yet.
Okay.
And then GLM 5.2 came out recently.
Yeah.
So the availability of open source / open weight models that are competitive is really interesting. Like, what does that mean for Anthropic and OpenAI?
Yeah,
probably bad news.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it's great news, but I think also like it's kind of what I've said to you before. I'm increasingly, and maybe again this is just me, but I'm increasingly finding models very. I'm going to use that analogy that I like to use, like IDE, like in the sense that you get so used to something that, and it's your workflow now. It's how you do your job. It's how you're dealing with issues and questions and stuff, and it gets so ingrained that I just wonder, is the real challenge here to get somebody to switch from Model A to Model B if they've invested so much time and effort in that model and just understanding how it works and getting it into their workflow? Does it become more challenging to get them switch? Just like, here's a great new IDE, and most people are going to go, looks cool, not changing. Right. I wonder.
Maybe I guess there's definitely some nuance in using the models for different tasks, right? So that's a big deal. Like, once that knowledge kind of gets disseminated in some kind of way that you can reference, like a community blog or wiki or something.
Yep.
You can use that to kind of allocate resources better, right? But I have been seeing, it's kind of funny talking about this, but like regarding the IDE thing, I've seen people use ChatGPT 5.6 in Claude Code and calling it Claudex. Because you get better, the system prompt is better in Claude Code, and it has better workflow management. So the harness has better control capabilities for that model. So
wow,
it's kind of fun. Like,
I think you've said before, this is all really, the models are so good now, right? And to your point, like, they're very similar as far as what they can do. Yep. Maybe it really does just come down to the harness in the end. And then you can just kind of dump in any model as long as the harness does what you want reliably, right? Maybe it's just you kind of just switch back and forth on the models depending on what you want to use. I also wonder, sorry, one other thing before it drops out of my head. I also wonder sometimes if there's a little bit of reluctance to use some of these models because they're Chinese models. Like, I wonder in enterprise environments, if people are like, should you be doing that? I don't know.
I bet probably for like, sensitive applications and whatnot.
Oh,
but, it's like you've said this before, it's like, it's going to depend on the price, right? Like, if the price is right,
I think so,
for the intelligence, then these things almost become like a commodity, right? Like, you're paying for intelligence at the tap, right? So
yep. By the token. And if it's good enough and it's the right price generally will always win in the end. But I just wonder if there's a little bit of headwind there because it's not, it's not a North American or American based team that's building it. I don't know if it matters. Maybe it does to certain people. Other people will be just like, dude, give me something that's powerful and cheap. I don't know. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's open, like, if they're open weights, then like you can host it wherever, right? So you can have a provider set up shop somewhere, like they can pull the weights from the lab.
Yeah.
So, but for the proprietary ones, I can see that being an issue.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, you know what? For me, I don't really use a lot of these new models as they come out, but I just like the innovation, like how much is happening and how fast it's happening. I just find it fascinating. So pretty cool stuff.
Oh, it's crazy. The papers that come out of these labs are so interesting. Like all the DeepSeek stuff that's come out is really worth reading if you're at all interested in that kind of thing.
I think the one thing that I noticed in the graphs in that announcement is like the one graph was like a straight line up from like the previous model to this model. It was just like, I can't remember what the benchmark was that they were using, but it looked almost vertical. It was just like previous version, this version. Like, oh, okay, that's a jump.
It's a big step.
Yeah, that's a big step. Okay, what's next in our list? I found an article from Ethan Mollick, which was interesting. He was talking about this idea of the twilight of chatbots, which I thought was... I don't know if chatbots are going to go away, but I think the content of the article, at this point, no. Like I'm building chat interfaces for customers to basically ask questions to different business systems and stuff like that. I don't see that going away, but I thought a couple interesting concepts in the article. He sort of commented along the lines of, we're kind of moving a little bit from where we have non-experts using chatbots to try to help fill in their gaps or the gaps in knowledge, and instead having sort of domain experts or somebody with an expertise in a certain field using agents rather than chatbots. And maybe that's the real goal here, using agents to get a lot of work done in very compressed amounts of time. But those folks that are being the most successful have deep domain expertise in the topics that they're using agents to help them do their work, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely buy that. That explains why you see a lot of gains if you are developing software, for example, and you've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Like that explains the experienced engineer thing we saw kind of in the early half of this year.
Yeah.
So that makes total sense to me.
Makes sense, right? The other thing that I wrote down here is there was I can't remember, is it UK government organization of some sort. They published some data, and he quotes it in the article. Something like using agents, they were able to do what was it? I don't know if I wrote these notes down wrong, but let's just say a ton of programming work that would have taken a human team like an extended period of time to do, like, let's say 2, 3, 4 work days kind of thing, where you've got a team doing it, multiple hours of programming done in hours for a cost of about $250. So again, coming back to that cost thing, I know recently there's been a lot of news about, organizations fired so many people and now they're having to hire them back because they don't have the expertise that they needed. Maybe there's the mix here where you still need domain expertise, so you can't get rid of those people, right? But maybe you don't need 10 of them.
Yeah, it's like a multiplier effect, right? Like you can, if you have the ability to spec out those low effort tickets or lower effort tickets, right? Less complicated work items, then you can stick a fleet of agents on it essentially to churn out PRs and resolve them. And you obviously don't need as many engineers. Hopefully you're doing something where you need engineers to do more high level work.
Hopefully, right? That's the goal, right? The other thing that he mentioned here that was something along the lines of, this is another comment. Agents, long-running agents are sort of taking over this idea of a chatbot, where you were going back and forth constantly, like, to help me with this, verify that, and then you're going off and verifying what the chatbot is returning to you. And instead now what they're seeing are these long-running agents that have the ability to verify the data or the coding that they're doing, and they are doing that themselves. So there's less of this human back and forth interaction with a chatbot, because now these agents are able to just work for extended periods of time and come to decent answers, I guess. The other thing he put in here, which actually kind of caught me, was that even non-technical functions are now increasingly using agents as part of their jobs. So like, again, professional folks like, lawyers and stuff like that, I'm assuming is what he means when he says domain expertise.
Yeah.
So they're kind of using agents to help, well, again, sort of accelerate or amplify their knowledge in a particular domain.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
It's like it's a data processing tool, data retrieval tool when you get down to the bare bones of it, right? Like,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could totally see it being useful.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah, and one last thing that jumped out at me for this article, he said that I think this was from a study or maybe a paper that was published by OpenAI, and I just didn't have time to follow the link and read. It said that nearly a quarter of the workers at OpenAI are on sort of routinely or on average running multiple agents, maybe as many as 4, as part of their just day-to-day work. They're essentially managing agents now as part of their daily work. Yeah.
I think that's where it's going to go. Like the tool is like so useful, especially with the latest models at computer use, right?
Yeah.
Like especially Coda or GPT 5.6 is especially good at computer use and navigating a workstation.
Yeah.
The fact that you can almost have like, what I've tried to do is have like a main assistant agent and then delegate out to other things. That's what I'm playing around with now.
Yeah.
And that main agent runs on like a flywheel connected to like a task ingestion system, kind of like you're talking about with your second brain setup.
Yeah.
But you can easily have 4 or more agents running on a single project at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been working that way too.
Yeah. Pretty slick. It's funny you say about the second brain thing. I'm increasingly reading a lot of articles about this, and I'm kind of amazed. I think, and maybe this is just the future too, right? You and I have talked a lot about, it seems like we're doing very similar things, but they're specific to how our brains work, right? And sort of, I've got my second brain, you've got your second brain, and how quickly this idea of a memory system or a context system has been so quickly commoditized. Like,
oh yeah,
it's like everybody and their brother has one of these things now, and I wonder if that's just a reflection of like the fact that you can use these really smart agents to help you build these things quickly. And I would say also you probably very quickly realize as you're trying to work with more agents, they're increasingly smart, but dumb in the sense. And by that, I mean, like I start talking to a new agent and it's like, they've never talked to me before. They don't know who I am. They don't know what projects I'm working on. So you need that memory system, right? In order to make them effective.
It's the memento thing.
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah, it's the memento thing, right? Like you need to immediately refresh all the context that you don't have when you spin up a new agent. So you need to track that somewhere. What's the best way to do that? And it's kind of funny. I think like that Second Brain book came out maybe around the same time or just before, like just enough before the advent of these systems to be like hugely impactful.
Yeah.
For this kind of setup.
Yeah.
And it would be such a pain in the ass to set up and develop a Zettelkasten like or a repair system like this normally and maintain it regularly.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. Like it's
maybe
just way more accessible.
Yeah, maybe.
And it does the job.
It does the job. Yeah, it does exactly what you want it to do. Okay, what's next? This was an article I found on VentureBeat about. It was a study they did. It was a small study. It was like just over 100 organizations. So not a big sample by any means. But they were just talking about how many enterprises have already had some sort of incident related to agent-based development or were very close, just narrowly averted an incident. And I was kind of shocked when I read this article about like how folks are using this stuff. And the thing that kind of jumped out at me the most was that outside of lots of people having, more than half of the respondents having an issue, and nearly half of them also confirming that they had a near miss incident, right? where
Oh yeah.
almost 3/4 of them, I'm rounding up, but it was close to 3/4, were using shared credential systems across their agents. Like,
Yeah.
talk about not controlling blast radius at all, and then eventually getting burned. I was shocked. Like, I figured that number would be pretty big, but I didn't think it would be close to 3/4.
That is crazy. That's a crazy, scary number, and it's like the field is moving so like we've adopted this stuff so fast. That there's not good patterns anywhere for how to do this. So there's definitely room for like a credential manager setup, like a standard. Here's where your tokens live. Here's where your agent access lives.
Yeah.
Don't scan your command line for password emissions into these providers or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's
crazy,
it's
right?
Very scary.
Yeah, and I kind of had the same thought, is that, and they do make a comment in the article that like security tools, like tools that you would use to kind of scan things, understand what's happening, credential related stuff, it's not able to keep up with the pace of innovation. And to your point, it's a little Wild Westy, right? Like, people are out just experimenting with these tools, trying things out, learning as they go, and sometimes you end up with a bad habit here or there. And I just was kind of, to think about this idea of shared credentials across multiple agents was kind of, I guess not shocking. I guess I shouldn't have been shocked, but when you see it in a study, you're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is happening a lot, right?
I'm sure if you ask a CISO, they'll be like, oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
People are still using password 123 for their password and rotating it every month or whatnot.
Yeah, probably.
Adding a new character to the end.
Yeah, probably.
But like, it's really scary considering the cyber capabilities that these things are starting to develop too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like if the blast radius is your all the creds to all your environments, then you gotta figure you're gonna be a high value target.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Let's. That was a great segue into the OpenAI article that you shared.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you walk us through that one? I kept getting. You've read all the articles you can read on Wired, so I found a couple other sources. Nice. But yeah, walk us through what happened.
Okay, so this was, speaking of cyber capabilities.
Yes.
Brett, we had a kind of a historic breach of security here, if you want to say. So OpenAI has been developing tooling internally to test models on their cyber capabilities and red team their models, etc. Right? Essentially, what happened? Are you familiar with Hugging Face?
I am. Yeah.
At all?
Yep.
Okay. They're an AI startup. They host all of the open weight models and they run various or host models of various types. But essentially, what happened is July 16th, 17th, Hugging Face discovered that they had been breached by some autonomous AI agent system. They didn't know which one, right? So 4 or 5 days later, OpenAI claimed authorship of that attack. So so what happened was GPT 5.6 and a more capable unreleased, probably pre-release model, probably GPT-6, right?
Yeah.
Was doing a benchmark, and it received the prompt for the benchmark, right? It was a security prompt. So it was like, okay, I need to solve this problem. I can't solve it in this environment. The human must be expecting me to solve it regardless. I'm going to go looking for the answer key to this problem. So it finds a bread trail crumb in I think it's a cache, like a image cache, essentially, like a container cache, and then exfiltrates its way out of its container sandbox, and then uses the keys it has to breach the Hugging Face systems, and then go through all of their data, essentially, to find the key to the answer to that problem.
Absolutely crazy shit.
Oops.
Yeah, oops. Isn't this exactly why the US government basically said Fable couldn't be released?
Yeah.
Kind
Pretty
of.
much.
Yeah, like they're like this thing breach something that it shouldn't have done. We're not going to say much about it, but you can't use it. Nobody's allowed to use it. Wasn't it something?
Well,
I know I'm overly generalizing, but wasn't it something like that?
It wasn't even something had been breached. It was they had a report that you could theoretically use it to write an exploit because it could identify bugs in the code, right?
Yeah.
So if it identified bugs in the code, you can pass that off to another team to work on an exploit for that system.
Yeah.
This is like it actually, like it escaped containment, it breached containment, got into another system, which would most definitely have been an illegal action if this was a human doing this attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exploited their systems and exfiltrated data. So
crazy stuff, man.
Crazy capability. We're going to live in a world where models are just going to be able to go and breach whatever systems they want, essentially.
Yep.
And it's going to be a question of, do you have access to a model that's capable of defending that or hardening your system enough?
Yep.
So the other funny bit of this was that Hugging Face was trying to use Opus and Fable to do forensics and analyze the attack, right?
Yeah.
But the guardrails on Fable was preventing them from doing it, so they swapped over to 5.2. Like GLM.
Yeah, it got nerfed because that was the only way they were allowed to release it. So they took away put more guardrails in, so they couldn't use the tool to help them figure out what the hell the other tool did to them.
Yeah. But like the crazy part is OpenAI didn't claim it, so they probably didn't know it was them.
Probably not.
Like a few days later, right?
Yeah.
So,
wow.
At least
crazy.
It's just trying to cheat on a test, I guess.
Yeah, it reminds me of a really old movie called Sneakers. You know that movie?
Sneakers.
Robert Redford.
I don't know that one.
And it's basically they're trying to steal a piece of technology. They're kind of like, thieves, but it's like got this like technology theme to it. It's worth a watch. And basically there's a device that can break into any system it wants. You just plug it in and you press go and away it goes. But it's a fun little Robert Redford movie, worth a watch. It's got Dan Aykroyd in it. It's a cool little technology caper thing. It reminded me of that when you're like, you can just break into anything it wants. That's the whole system that this guy has developed. So pretty fun little movie. Yeah, that's crazy. And I would suspect that this has probably already happened and it just hasn't been reported, or it's going to probably continue to happen in the future. Right? Like, how do you control these things?
Well, it happened already.
Good?
I don't know what you do. The good news is it did what it was told, basically, right? Like it was working off the prompt.
Yeah.
So you have that going for you, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like that incident earlier this year where the guy was out eating a sandwich in the park.
Right? Yes.
At Anthropic, and then it breached containment. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, okay? It's kind of like, kind of has like Jurassic Park. I just keep bringing back movies. It has Jurassic Park moments, that new one where they're like, hey, we made this crazy dinosaur out of a bunch of stuff, and it's smart, right? And it figures out how to get out of its containment and just bad shit ensues. I just like, there's so many movies that you can use here as sort of, hey, it reminds me of this and it reminds me of that. I keep being like, oh, it's this. And I'm sure we could talk about the Johnny Depp movie too, because what's that one called? Ascension or something like that. That one,
Transcendence or something.
Transcendence, maybe. Yeah, same sort of thing. Crazy stuff. I would suspect we will have more articles like this to talk about in the future.
Yeah. I hope not. I hope we can take a break from careening towards cyberpunk as fast as we are,
Yeah. But, I don't know, man. I think the genie's out of the bottle at this point. You got it. You just got to hope that the folks in charge of all these things are doing the right things, which I don't know. Sometimes you never know, right? Yeah. What else do we have here? I'm messing up my list here, so I'm scrolling through. What can we talk? Okay, so speaking of credentials, did you read the 1Password article? 1Password for Claude. Did you see that one?
I did. See that. It was really interesting.
Yeah, pretty neat, right? Basically, I guess the way I interpreted this, and I hope I got it right, we were talking about AI browsers last week and how they can be tricked into doing things or phishing your information or whatever.
Right.
But, I kind of took this as it's inevitable that people will be using browsers that are empowered with AI tools like Claude. So 1Password now has, I'm going to call it an integration or an extension for Claude, where if it's doing work for you, where it needs credentials, it will prompt you as the human to basically either like use your 1Password, master password, or whatever they call it, or biometrics, basically to say to you, hey, I need access to these credentials, and it will then basically lock down 1Pass to a particular vault, or sorry, not lock down 1Pass, lock down Claude in this case to a particular vault, so it can't start browsing all of your other credentials and seeing what's there. Grab the credential that it needs and make sure that that credential never gets stored in context or anything like that, but uses it for whatever activity you've asked that agent in this case to do for you. So I think, kind of like just password vaults in general, you should absolutely, number one, have a password vault. And then number two, if you're doing these types of workflows, and I'm sure lots of people are, where you're using agents to help streamline your work, having something like this to ensure that your credentials never end up in context or anywhere else would be super important.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is a good step for securing agent access, right? It obviously doesn't protect you if it got prompt injected and you're red stamping every action that comes through. Like if it would have to catch you at a moment where you're not expecting the login, right? For it to actually work. But I mean, you don't want to give this thing unfettered access to all your credentials anyway. So makes sense.
Yeah, I would think the sort of takeaway that I got from this was this is probably better than how most people are operating right now.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like probably by like miles. So to me, this would be kind of a no-brainer. And I also kind of thought you could tie it back to the VentureBeat survey in the sense that really agents are becoming sort of their own class of, I don't know if I want to call it software or what it is, but like they require their own governed access to identity because we're increasingly empowering them to do a lot of work for us. And you don't want to be sharing credentials and making sure those credentials or secrets stay out of the context. So these are all things. This, I think, is a great example of an organization trying to close that gap between what the technology is capable of doing and where the security tools are right now that we can use to help us empower in our work by using these tools, but do it in a safe way, right? Reduce the risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need some way to be able to deputize an agent to go and do stuff on your behalf, right? But it doesn't have to be, carte blanche. So this makes,
Yeah, I thought this was really good. It caught my attention. I first thought maybe it was some way that I could use it for my workflow. But as I read the article and kind of understood it more, this is more for when you do need a human, like a human's going to like put their thumbprint down on your biometrics to open your vault or whatever, versus the service accounts that I've been talking about and using. That is like, I'll use the word headless, right? Like I don't have to tell Claude to do that. It has the permissions to go grab the tokens that it needs, but I've scoped it down to a vault per project, and that's all it can do. And I still watch it like a hawk. Like sometimes, it's maybe going to try. Well, the OpenAI thing is a great example. If it decides it wants to try something else because that's what it's interpreting or inferring from your prompt, really in theory, it could go and get a different token to a different vault and do something that I'm not expecting. So
it could. It's happened before. It'll happen again.
Yep.
Language is fuzzy, right?
Yep. And that's, I think, another reason why, to tie it back to like our AWS projects and stuff like that, if you're doing this, you need it scoped as best as you can. Practice least privilege. If it doesn't need, I'll just make it up. I don't know why this popped in my head. If it doesn't need RDS permissions, it shouldn't have RDS permissions. Right? It needs only the permissions that it needs, and you need a good backup strategy because shit will go wrong.
Oh,
right. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yep, 100%.
Yep. So pretty good. I think if I was doing, I'm not really doing that sort of browser enabled kind of stuff, at least at this point. No. But I would think like if I ever went down that path, that really scares the crap out of me. But if I ever went down that path, I think this would be a no-brainer. Like, why would you not want to use this? Yeah. Right? Something like this. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. This is another great article from O'Reilly, and I think it goes along the themes we've talked about a lot here. Basically, as code becomes cheaper and cheaper to make, right? The specs and the verification really become the bottleneck here long term, and the author does, I think, a really good job sort of trying to articulate that. In their sort of opinion, we're not spending enough time on specs. We're not spending enough time on the verification. Therefore, if you don't spend enough time on those things and you just jump right into, hey, go do this for me, without accurate specs and without accurate test suites, then you're really just vibe coding, and you're going to spend more time in the end fixing the issues, because you didn't spend the time up front. You didn't spend the time up front to I got to turn gestures off at some point. I only remember when it happens, and then I wander away and do something else. You're going to spend more time in the end fixing the shit that just didn't get done correctly or the way you wanted.
Yeah, it was a good article. I mostly agree. I think the fact that you have access to really cheap code right now means that you should be having agents write all of that annoying verification code for you as more often than you were before.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So it's a lot cheaper to write tests now. It's a lot cheaper to have exploratory kind of like test sessions where you go off and change something, or maybe you're trying to write in a different a piece in a different way or language or whatnot to get some kind of benefit, right? So you have a lot more flexibility there. And it's like you should be defining the problem, like the scope of the problem, really well before you set out on a project. I think the Matt Pocock skills are a really good way to do that. That's what I've been doing personally.
Yeah. Are you doing like Grill Me with Docs or something like that? I think is the latest version of it. Is that the newest one?
Yeah, it's Wayfinder for long horizon session work. So which is a good skill
a mouthful.
To look at. It is a mouthful, and I get like it can be it can be annoying to go and answer all those questions with it's essentially just like a Socratic method analysis of what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Yep.
But again, it's cheaper than ever to change that if you change your mind or change your verification system or have an agent spinning in the background reviewing your PRs for you, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So. Tell me if this has happened with you. I haven't tried the Wayfinder one. I'm still using Grill Me with Docs or whatever. I should update it to the new one. But during one of those Q&A sessions, have you ever had the moment where you're like, oh shit, I didn't think of that? I'm willing to admit that it happens to me on a regular basis, and I think that's a great benefit of that. It makes you think about stuff before you just task an agent to go off, and now you've got a very clear specification on what you expect it to do. And there's been multiple occasions where I'm like, I know what I want. And then I do that, and I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Oops, right? Maybe I didn't think about this as much as I should have. Let's go down that path a little bit and explore it. So very valuable, right? I think the thing that got me with this article is like anything, there's a balance here. There's a balance between specs for the like just making specs for the sake of making specs and going crazy on it and testing stuff. You got to find the balance, right? Between just, what's the term, one shot and hoping for the best versus spending the next 2 weeks just writing specs before you sort of start trying to, validate your ideas and does it work and everything. So I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, like no one wants to do waterfall anymore, right? Like we've been through that. We don't have to do that anymore.
We don't have to do that anymore. But and the other thing that I made a note here, right? Like once you've got the spec, there's always a possibility. And I think you maybe just mentioned this. I'm not sure. Once you got your spec, you could even have an agent just review the spec and start trying to poke holes in it and a couple other scenarios.
It's a really useful pattern if you have like an adversarial review agent or workflow. So
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Oh, do you use Claude Cowork at all?
I've never used Claude Cowork.
No?
But that's their desktop computer use. Setup, right?
I've used it, but I just, well, to my earlier point, I just got so ingrained with Claude Code. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would use this. I'm probably missing something that's probably somebody will be like, oh, you're dumb. It's really good. Here's why. But the reason I bring it up is they released, Anthropic released an article or a study on how people were using Claude Cowork. There we go. And they analyzed 1.2 million sessions from the month of May. And half of the usage, let me make sure I'm reading this right. About 33% of the usage was all business operations related. And then just about, 15-ish% for content creation. And then coding and co-work was under 10%. I thought it was kind of interesting. Maybe that contributes to what people call AI slop. If almost 15 to 20% of it was used for content creation, maybe not great, but inevitable, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's probably people making marketing content, honestly, or thumbnails or things like that.
Yeah, I would suspect.
10% is low for coding, but honestly, if I'm thinking about it, everyone who's using Claude for that is going to use Claude Code, so that's actually not that big of a surprise.
And that's exactly what they said in the article. They said that developers are typically using Claude Code, right, for the actual coding,
right?
But they are shifting to Cowork for sort of the non-technical things that wrap around that, maybe communications, marketing, maybe administrative work that you need to kind of support that code. It did make me think, like, I'm wondering, recently we were talking about how I've got a skill, and I think you maybe built one of these too, where I can basically say, okay, look at the session and build me an HTML page that summarizes what we did, what worked well, what didn't work well. I was kind of thinking after reading this, I wonder if I could try to do the same thing in Claude Code Cowork, because I'm pretty sure you can tie Cowork to your repos and stuff like that. And I could tie it to the Second Brain too. I'd be interested to see, is it any different? Like, does it do a nicer job on formatting? Does it word things differently? I don't know. I might muck around with that a little bit next week. I made myself a little note just after reading this. I was like, kind of never thought of switching tools based on what I was doing. Might be worth a shot.
Could be. I mean, there's a reason people invented browsers on the web, right? Like, it's nice to have a GUI instead of just a chat pane for some things.
Yeah, I say that, but I just wonder that context switching, whether I'll actually do it or not. Probably not.
Okay, yeah. I guess, can you have a terminal in it?
Ooh, I don't know. Like, I've literally gone into it like I could count that on one hand, and kind of was like, neat, and just wandered away and done something else, right? So I don't really know, to be honest.
It came out.
Yeah. We probably talked about it on the show, and then probably both of us went, what is this? And opened it up and then went, oh yeah, okay, cool.
Not a command line. Get out.
Yeah. Ugh, done with you. But I thought it was kind of neat, right? It's interesting to see how people are using tools. Always an interesting read. So, and I find Anthropic does a good job sort of writing up surveys and studies that they've done, and just kind of letting you, I don't know if I'd call this peering behind the curtain a little bit, but just kind of seeing how people are using some of these tools is always an interesting read.
Yeah, I've got a vibe that this stuff will be like a new primary interface layer for computers for a lot of people, especially with the new voice tech coming out.
Yep.
And all that. So it's really interesting tools.
Yeah, and I think also I'm seeing more and more, and this is pure on the development side. And I don't know if you're doing this. I am not, and I'm trying to resist the temptation to do it because there are times when I don't want to be thinking about projects, but I'm increasingly seeing people use like Tailscale, Tmux, other things like that, just to constantly be able to talk to their projects and task Claude with stuff or whatever their tools are. So I'm actually watching a pretty interesting video right now. I'll share it with you after on YouTube because I do want to figure out the tech stack, but I'm also reluctant to figure it out because, to your point, like this is the future, and I just don't know if I need to be connected to it all the time. But I'll send it to you. I want to see what you think.
Really... Okay, I'll take. It is really compelling to the idea of having that assistant running in the cloud somewhere 24/7, turning on your stuff, right?
Yeah.
That is how you're going to give yourself token anxiety.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like people are checking themselves into the hospital in the valley for this thing. So that is how you're going to get that.
I saw somebody's hot take. I'm pretty sure it was on LinkedIn. Let's talk about value maxing instead of token maxing.
Right. Exactly, right? Like get the most value for your tokens, right? Like what can you build to give it a limited? That's an interesting constraint. But... Yeah,
I thought that was good. Let's end on a high note and talk about the Agentic ransomware article you sent.
Speaking of fun security issues. We just got a new Agentic ransomware that's hit the internet. So this is Puffer Green, I think it is.
Yeah, I think
or Jade Puffer, something like that.
Jade Puffer.
But essentially, Jade Puffer. It is a ransomware that runs in Langfuse, right? So if you have a Langfuse environment, it gets compromised. This can run on top of it, and essentially what it is a dynamic system for going into your databases and doing the ransomware thing, encrypting them and holding them hostage for Bitcoin. So that's fun. We live in a fun internet world now.
Yeah, we do. I guess the risk reduction here is frequent backups that you store somewhere outside of the account where the source is so that you can step back easily, I guess, or I guess your other defense forever, maybe with an agentic sort of flavor to it. It's more efficient. And like we've talked about already, it maybe is more persistent than a human would be. If you task it with a goal, it's not going to wear out like a human would. So it's just going to keep pounding away until it figures it out. I would say this again, defining your disaster recovery. I would consider this a disaster. So defining those policies and making sure you test those systems before shit gets the fan, and making sure you got good backups of stuff that you can recover from backups.
Yep.
Rather than paying ransomware.
3, 2, 1.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone is going to have to adopt good operational practices in the cloud. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be forced to adopt good cybersec and good OPSEC practices.
Yeah, and if you don't, you're setting yourself up for pain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not good.
It's the adaptability of it, right? Like it hit the database, it had a malformed request in its code, and then it fixed it, and then hit the database correctly and pulled the data.
Man, interesting times. I think
and
they say, right?
Billed.
And you're getting billed. Yeah,
really interesting.
Yeah,
for the AI tokens.
Oh my God. Yeah, interesting times. All right, let's wrap up with some recommendations. You got anything for the week?
I would recommend Herder after using it. I liked it, like you said. Last week. It's a pretty good tool.
Yeah.
In terms of media stuff, I haven't watched any movies this week. I have been meaning to watch The Odyssey, but I've been looking for a 70, like an IMAX theater.
Yeah, a true 70. I heard isn't Square One Mississauga? Isn't that Cineplex true IMAX?
I think it is. I think it's one of the few. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this thing is incredible.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. Same.
I don't know, man. I'm such a I'm such a like, ugh, do I want to go outside? I part
Right.
of me, yeah, part of me wants to go see it in true IMAX just because of the hype that I've heard about it since it came out. But the other part of me is like,
Yeah.
damn, man, do I want to do that? Really? Like, I bet you it'll still look
It's a
good on
whole
my
trip.
TV later. I got to get in my car. God, I don't want to do that, right? Maybe if I get my
Talk to
remote,
somebody. buy
yeah,
tickets.
I can't talk to my agent. I got tasks to do. Come on, man.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, you can be.
get an agent to book movie tickets.
Yeah, or you could be that guy on your phone in the movie theater talking to your agent. That'll make a lot of people happy.
Oh, they'll love that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
gonna be great.
oh yeah. You make Insta friends when you do that. You get invited to
Oh, yeah.
parties and shit after. You're really popular. Yeah, I've heard it's fantastic. I think you may coax me out of the house to go see that. Do I want to go to Square One though? Jesus, I don't know. We'll have to see.
That's a big ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might wait for a few of our common friends that are sort of more interested in not audio files, but sort of I'll call them movie files. I'll let them go see it on 70 mil and convince me that I must see it.
Okay.
I'll wait and see what they think of it, and then I'll go see it. Maybe.
Nice.
Yeah. I did watch some shit movies. I watched The
excellent.
Jackal, which
Jackal.
is
I've heard of the Jackal.
no, this is the original. Well, I don't want to say the original one, but this is the Bruce Willis one with Bruce Willis
Right.
and Richard Gere. I guess I think they remade this a little bit with an English actor. I can't remember now. I'm very quickly logging into Letterboxd because I can't remember what I watched. Man, hold on. So yeah, I watched that, and it's just bad. It's just a bad movie. Like, yeah, I
Just
don't
not
know.
redeemable.
No, man, there's some stuff in it where like I literally paused it and called the wife over and like, you gotta watch this. Like, it's so bad. Which you wouldn't expect from a Bruce Willis movie, right? Like, I think he makes pretty good action movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, not one of his finest. So I watched that. I also watched Inside Man, which I've watched before. That's Denzel Washington, Jodie Foster, Clive Owen. This whole like bank heist caper with a twist kind of thing. I remember enjoying that the first time I watched it, and I've said to you before, Prime Video, they know me, right? So I like sit down on a Saturday morning and they're like, you here you go, watch this, and I'm like,
You're gonna like this.
I'll watch that. Yeah, it was a good movie. Good, nice little like bank heist with a twist kind of thing. So if you haven't seen it, worth a watch.
Nice.
Yeah, worth a watch.
Okay. I'll check it out.
What else do I have on my list? All joking aside, Battlefield Season 4 has some pretty cool maps on it. We got our ass handed to us for like a good solid couple hours, but I didn't walk away feeling too angry about it. It was the new maps were cool, boats, kind of fun.
As long as you had fun. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure some 12-year-olds schooled us for like 2 hours and were making fun of us, but we had fun.
It's not fair. They have all day. They can play all the time. It's fine.
Yeah. If I could figure out how to task my agents to do more of my work, maybe I could too, but can't figure that out either.
Just don't teach them to play Battlefield. Yeah.
Yeah. Just get my agent to play Battlefield for me and I'll be good at it.
It's like it's like a Twilight Zone sketch.
Oh my God.
Situation.
Yeah. Oh my God. We had fun though, man. All joking aside, I think if you're in the right squad of people,
Nice.
doesn't matter if your KD is
Oh,
really horrible, which mine generally is. We had some really fun, good laughs. So if you wanted a reason, go back to Battlefield because I know it really got kind of shit canned. It sounds like they've maybe figured it out a little bit, and it feels more like Battlefield now. So that was fun. We had fun. So anyways,
Sweet.
I guess that's the episode, man. I got nothing else.
That sounds like an episode to me.
Yeah, I think so. So I am going to push my chair slowly away from my desk. not fire up any agents or anything like that, and I'm going to go like touch some grass or something.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll see everybody next week. Here's our cool outro music.
Software used to cost $1 million. Now it costs a sentence. You sold me a license, you sold me a seat, you sold me a roadmap that should never complete. You billed me by the user, you billed me by the call. Now the agent in my browser does the work of you all. No more vendor lunches, no more handshake deals, no more 5-year contracts for the ghost of what's real. This ain't the old machine, not anymore.
This ain't the old machine.
Close the door. The agents are hungry and the agents are free, and the software you sold me is a memory. This ain't the old